Okay, so here I am for my second roasting of my entire life. So last night I did my first home roasted coffee. I did this Ethiopian bean, and I did it a little bit longer. So I've got the first crack and second crack terminology for roasting. I went well beyond the first crack. I wasn't sure if I really got to the second crack or not. I think I did. So I had a nice roasted, darker roast coffee. I really enjoyed it. Just tried a cup of it this morning. Really enjoyed it. I was looking at the cupping notes for this coffee, and it describes cupping notes being sweet, strawberry, red raspberry, blueberry, chocolate, and well balanced. So I thought I would try a lighter roast this time, because that's, I think, when you're usually going to taste some of those fruits. I think the darker you roast it, the less you're going to taste those. It's my guess. So I was going to try a light roast, which is basically stopping right after the first crack. So I figured I'd just kind of enjoy some experimentation on this. So I'm going to put, same as I did last night. You can put up to 4 cups of coffee, but since I'm just experimenting, I'm going to do 2 cups of the green beans in here. And do a shorter roast. So last night I kind of went with the factory settings, and I just kept, I was just kind of learning how to use it, so I just kept adding more time because I wanted a darker roast. So I'm going to again go with what I'm assuming is going to be the factory settings, and I don't remember at what point the first crack happened relative to those settings, so we'll just kind of wait for that first crack. So I will turn it on. I think those look like the same settings. And I will start it. So I would probably say that cup of coffee I just finished with what I roasted last night was, I don't know, it was one of the best cups of coffee I think I've ever had, and I've had some, I'm not a connoisseur of coffee, I wish I was, I drink a lot, but I've had some really good coffees, but it was just so nice and smooth, and I guess maybe you would say well balanced. It was just a wonderful cup of coffee, so I could certainly enjoy it exactly how I roasted it last night, but again, I want to learn a little bit more about these things, and I want to see if I can taste some of these cupping notes that they mentioned. I probably won't, but I'd still like to try a light roast to see how it compares to the darker roast that I did last night. Again, I don't think this will take more than 10 minutes. I think last night was probably 13 minutes, I'm not sure. Maybe it's less. The factory setting for the timer, I guess, is about 5 minutes. I didn't realize that. So maybe I did just do like 10 minutes last night. It's running at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna tweak this real quick to get show the temperature, and then press it. Goes back to the factory settings, which is the fan speed, I guess, the power, and then this 3.6 here is the time that's left. So that's the timer. And if you turn that 90 degrees real quick, it shows you the temperature. So I'm starting to hear it crack. So we are getting I'm guessing I will have to end it early because it's still got 3 minutes left. I'm already hearing the first crack. But it just started too, so, I mean, it just started cracking, so it'll probably take a little bit longer. And unfortunately, once this is done, I've got to wait about 4 hours to try it. It's about 9:45 in the morning, so maybe around 2 I can have a cup of coffee. I do believe I'm going to drink. I'm already kind of a heavy coffee drinker, not all day long, but I usually have 3 cups a day throughout the day. I believe I'm going to be consuming a lot more coffee now. Maybe not the best thing, but at least for a while I'm going to be consumed by this, I think, and enjoy every second of it. We'll see how much caffeine I start to feel. Maybe that'll make me back off. It's still cracking, so still popping. So maybe we'll just go with the factory settings. There's about 1.8 minutes left. If I want to stop it, I can just press the off button and I think that'll start it to the cooling phase. Once the timer runs down, a C shows up for, I assume that must mean cooling. That's up. Last night I didn't really understand how it worked, how the timer worked, so it actually started cooling a couple times, and then I realized, oh, I wanted to roast it longer, so I turned it back, added more time to it, and went back to roasting. I think it's done cracking, so I think I'm going to go ahead and stop it, because it's still got 0.9 minutes left. I hear a little cracking, but not much. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. So now I have to see it's gone to, there's a C there for cooling, and so now it will cool, but then it has to sit for 4 hours, like I said, so I don't really understand the cooling part. I'll have to try to read up on that, but apparently cooling is an important part of the roasting process. You don't just turn it off, I guess you have to keep the beans moving as part of the cooling process. So some larger roasters have like an arm, it's in a tray and it has an arm and it kind of moves them around. Justice told me there's some manual roasters where once it's done roasting, you actually just kind of shake it around in like a cookie sheet or something to keep it moving while it cools. So apparently movement is important. So anyways, that's probably, you don't need to watch it cool, so this will be my second roast, a lighter one, and we'll see how this comes out.